Okay, look at you, Susan. All
I don't have
right,
the lipstick
good
on yet.
deal. Okay, so we're on week 1. We're going on the Spring Vitality Boost, 21 days. Yay. Okay, can everyone see that?
Blank.
Okay, good. I tried to make this really simple where we could make everything ahead of time on Sunday so we don't have to do a lot of cooking during the week. There's some things coming up that I don't really like to cook ahead, but everything on this should probably be fine except for maybe the overnight oats, and they only take a minute to make at night, so I usually don't make those till the day before. But everything else can be done. So what I thought I'd do is just take a look at the recipes, and then I'll show you my Walmart shopping cart. So I can talk to you about things that you could substitute or, special variations on that. 2 cups of oats, Quaker rolled, and I use the gluten-free ones. And I don't know if it would be, I'll show you that later, what I buy. And then the unsweetened almond milk. Okay, almond milk is one of those things that it comes with, when you buy it in the package form, it comes with a lot of different preservatives and chemicals in it that we don't even know what they are. And if it has something in it called carrageenan, you definitely don't want to buy that. It's like disrupts your gut big time. And they've passed a law against it, against manufacturers using that because it's a cheap emulsifier. However, they've given them a year to phase it out of their manufacturing process. So some products still have it, coconut milk and almond milk. But almond milk is the simplest thing to make on the planet. I make about 2 quarts at a time, but if you just want to make 1 quart at a time, you can do it in a blender. You just take about a half a cup of almonds, soak them overnight, put them in your blender and put in a quart of water and just blend it up, and then strain out the pulp. Some people like the pulp, but strain it out. And then you just keep it in a glass jar, and it's not going to emulsify like you would buy at the store. So every time, just before you use it, you just have to shake it up again. The second thing is peanut butter. So the only thing that you want in your peanut butter is peanuts. Okay, chia seeds. This menu this week has chia seeds and hemp seeds. If you're only going to buy one of those, because I haven't found anywhere that you can buy small quantities, and they're about $10 a bag for the big, huge bag of it. That also lasts me for almost a year because you only use a little bit at a time. So anywhere that there's hemp seeds in this menu plan, you could also use chia seeds. And maple syrup. Maple syrup is one of those things that I would definitely try to get organic. And the darker the maple syrup in it is, the more nutrients it has in it. It's the first run of it. Cacao powder. I've got a couple brands of that, but if you don't want to get organic on that, it's probably okay. And you can just get the Hershey's. It's 100% cacao powder. And then, of course, water. Anytime I mention water, I'm talking about filtered water. And of course, you can use honey in this, and it's got the substitutes here if you want to top it with bananas or peanuts, coconut, chocolate chips. You get the chocolate chips that are not, I would get the ones that don't have the sugar in them. They have cacao nibs, as they call them, that are just little chunks of chocolate. You can also add flaxseed in here. You want to add a little bit more fiber. The Morning Glory muffins, almond flour. Again, you can make almond flour just by blending up almonds, or you can, I'm getting a thing saying my internet's unstable. It's probably from the video, but you can just blend up almonds to make almond flour, or I'll show you a brand you can buy. And again, here's the oats. It's the rolled oats. And these are delicious. Oh my goodness. The serving size on these is 2, and they freeze super great. Just take them out, and then I think we've talked about everything on here. If you don't want to use eggs, it's got the, a lot of people are allergic to eggs and they don't even know it. So I definitely would recommend buying the free range eggs. But you can take 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed with 6 tablespoons of water, and if you just let it sit to form a gel, you can use that instead of the eggs. And you're not going to taste a difference. I can't even taste flax seeds at all. I'm just going to use baby carrots, but if you want to slice up carrots or however you want to do that, it's just easier to buy it where it's already ready for me. And I just take an avocado, and avocados are one of the lowest sprayed for pesticides, and they have that hard shell on the outside. So I don't always buy the organic ones on that. And 1 lime that juiced, and sea salt. And of course, guacamole is going to get brown unless it's in an airtight container. Naturally, I'm sure you know that already. So I'll show you some containers that keep that pretty good. I'm going to show you the kind of, I think I put this in the Facebook group too, the kind of chocolate that I got for this snack and the almonds. Sorry, I'm going to go through this kind of fast so we can get out of here. Brown rice, I'll show you the pasta that I have in my shopping cart. Extra virgin olive oil. Now, olives are one of the products that are sprayed heavily with pesticides, so I always try to get organic, or I try to get olive oil that's directly from Spain, because Spain does not use pesticides on their olives. I don't know how to stop that where I have to admit people every time, but anyways, there's just another one. Guess somebody got cut off. Okay, so green olives, again, I just said they're sprayed, so you want to try to get that. But the other thing that you can do is, if you can't find anything organic, I wash them with a little bit of white vinegar, or let the product soak. I just let the, rice or quinoa or stuff like that soak in a little bit of water with white vinegar. And that will remove a lot of things. It's actually kind of amazing when you see all the dirt that starts floating up. It's kind of disgusting. But sun-dried tomatoes, tuna, like I don't eat tuna. I use the chickpeas or lentils instead. I think that tastes just as good, and I feel like it's more nutritious, because tuna, it has to be wild caught, and depending how big the tuna is, it could be carrying mercury, and if it comes in a can, it could be carrying aluminum. It's just so many different things that could be affecting it, and we don't know the life of the tuna, of course. So not to say anything bad about it, but a lot of people like it. Like my grandson is going to go on this with me, and he said, "Oh, I love tuna," and I'm just like, "Okay then, what tuna in yours?" And arugula too, same thing. Right before I'm eating it, I wash that in some vinegar water. And this one's got the hemp seeds, but you could definitely use chia seeds instead, or even sunflower seeds would be good in that. The corn chowder, I'll show you the ones that I picked out. This one's got coconut milk. Coconut milk, again, you just have to read the ingredients. Like, you want to get the fewest ingredients possible. But again, coconut milk is super easy to make. And this one, for a quart of coconut milk, you just put in 1 cup of the coconut flakes in your blender and a quart of water, and just blend it up. And you can filter it, or you can strain it or not. I like it both ways, because in this recipe it'd probably be good if it was unstrained. So, but you only need 2/3 cup of it here, so you'd have it for other recipes too. And you can feel free to use almond milk too instead. You know, it doesn't matter. Those things are pretty much interchangeable. And the other thing, I like to sprinkle this with some crushed red pepper. You know, you can put some avocado on it. I wouldn't do the pieces of toast because then you're going to get into the gluten and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, green onions, just whatever you have. The red pepper flakes are delicious though. And does anybody like hot stuff? Spicy? No?
Not real spicy.
Okay. Okay, so this one, you're basically just mixing up a bunch of ingredients, patting it down in on a cookie sheet, and just baking it at 300 degrees until it's crunchy, but it gets a little bit more crunchy after you bake it, so you don't want to over bake it. And then you can just store it in an airtight container, and you can also freeze this. And you can use, of course, you want to use pumpkin seeds that are not in the shell, so it would be the pepitas or whatever, and you try to find them unroasted and unsalted, which is pretty hard to find at certain places unless you go to a specialty place. But you can also use sunflower seeds, different kinds of seeds here. You can probably throw some chia seeds in this mix and it'd be great. The hummus, you can buy hummus. I'll show you a couple brands in my shopping cart. I also put a recipe for turmeric hummus in the Facebook group if you want to make hummus yourself. And the salmon, again, you want to try to get wild caught without, like I looked at some last night and they're wild caught, but they added chemicals to them that I don't know what those chemicals are. So the whole idea of what we're trying to do is clean it up. So it's, you know, we want to try to get out as many chemicals possible. Again, about the olive oil, coconut aminos. You can also use soy sauce instead if you're, I use the low sodium one sometimes if I don't have any coconut aminos, but I have a bottle of that and I got it at a local health food store when it was on clearance sale. So it was only like $5 for it. And it lasts me for about a year because you only use like a little bit at a time. I just keep that in the refrigerator. Ginger stir fry, tamari, again, you can use the coconut aminos. You can use low sodium soy sauce. Same thing, coconut oil. Again, you want extra virgin, organic. Chicken breast, I'll show you the ones that I'm getting. And I'll show you some other options for these vegetables because you can really mix this up with basically anything that you have or anything that you know you like. So I'm going to switch over to that. Oh my goodness, so it's coming up on the side. Great. That we're on. Going to put that down. Okay, so I just buy the plain white vinegar. No big deal. Some of the recipes call for apple cider vinegar, so you want to get the one with the mother. You may want to get, if you don't have anything already, some kind of food containers that can go in the freezer and that you can carry around with you. There's several different types. I make my overnight oats in a glass jar or a glass bowl. And if you're going to be going out and about, you may want to get some of these little cups to hold the guacamole and the hummus in. So you can just bring your snack size with you. Some little snack size bags. You'll need some muffin liners, cupcake liners. Here's one sample of organic maple syrup. And this will last for quite a while. Cage-free brown eggs. And here's the organic type. It's not that huge of a price difference. And here's what I wanted to show you about the almond milk. You can see all these, this one has sugar in it. It's got carbonate, sea salt, potassium citrate, sunflower lecithin, and just like a bunch of preservative stuff. And they're calling it natural vitamin E, but it doesn't sound very natural to me. I don't know. I'd rather just take my almonds and mix them up myself. It's so much easier and less expensive. Here's an example of some organic cacao. It's not that much, you know, the Hershey's brand is another one that's 100%, but it's still, you know, if you want to go organic on everything, you can. Here's a couple of seeds of change if you want to make some rice to go with the ginger chicken stir fry. They have a whole bunch of different types. Let's see. Here's another one that's the Great Value brand. Here's almond flour from Bob's Red Mill. It says in there to use organic raisins, but I didn't see any. So what I'll do with these is just soak them in a little bit of the vinegar before I use them. Organic chickpeas. Garbanzo and chickpeas are the same thing. Ginger root. Okay, these are awesome. You just peel this and you can just grate it into whatever you're using, and then you just wrap up the root in some plastic wrap or wax paper or something like that, and you can store this in your freezer for a long, long time. And then you can just use it while it's frozen the next time around. So those keep for a long time. Grape tomatoes, of course. I soak these in some white vinegar. The Kangen water is also great to soak these in, or any of these vegetables. It pulls any kind of that stuff off. Instead of buying whole cauliflower, I usually buy the frozen because I live by myself and I just want to have things on hand. And again, I'll soak that in a little bit of white vinegar just to make sure there's nothing on there. Couldn't find any organic olives, so again, I'll probably soak these in the vinegar water before I use them. Here's for olive oil. We talked about this already, but I use, you know, you want to get the extra virgin cold pressed, unfiltered. Here's another one that I buy a lot that's from Spain. And even though it doesn't say organic on it, I know they don't use pesticides there. Sun-dried tomatoes. Here's one brand of hummus. This one isn't ideal, but it's not as bad as some of the other ones. It does have a little bit of preservatives in it. Okay, so for the ginger stir fry, these little bags of vegetables are amazing. And I just rinse them right before I cook them in the vinegar water. And they've got, you know, everything in there, and it's only, you know, $2.50 to get everything, and you don't have to chop anything up. So if you want to save some time on that. The other one that I really like that's not frozen is the Taylor Farms brand. Now, I don't use their sauce. I make my own sauces, but the vegetables are already chopped up, and they have like a whole bunch of good vegetables in there. That's all mixed up.
Annie, I have a question.
Yes.
So you're rinsing a lot of things with vinegar and water. How much vinegar are you using in the water so it doesn't pick up the vinegar taste?
I only use about a teaspoon to maybe a couple of teaspoons. I mean, I never measure anything. I just pour it in, but it comes out to around, you know, around a tablespoon or so. But I've never noticed that it picks everything up because the sauces that I make, it takes care of all of that. But yeah, you're right. You don't want to pickle something. So, and a lot of times if I go shopping, I have a lot of fresh produce. I'll fill up my kitchen sink. I'll put everything in there, and I'll pour maybe half a cup of vinegar in there and just let it soak for a little while, and, you know, shake it up with my hands a little bit. And then I don't rinse it with the tap water because I don't want it to pick up the chemicals from that. There are some other vegetable washes and everything, but white vinegar is so inexpensive. The other thing that you can use if you don't have that is baking soda. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, coconut oil. So you want to get unrefined, cold pressed, extra virgin coconut oil. And this has a high heat point, although I never cook anything over medium heat. There's a lot of questions and stuff going on about coconut oil, and there's so many different brands, but those are the key things that you want to look for: unrefined, cold pressed, and extra virgin. Organic celery hearts. Here's the low sodium soy sauce. The coconut aminos are much better, and a lot of people avoid soy, but I don't know. I don't really worry about that too much. The other thing that you can use is just all natural liquid aminos. This tastes like soy sauce, but it's a lot saltier. So you want to be really conservative when you're using this. And this size bottle will last for probably a year. It's just because you just barely use any, and you want to make sure you don't put in too much. Again, because it'll be way too salty. Here's some coconut aminos. And again, this replaces soy sauce. And it can be, again, you only use a little tiny bit of it. It's very salty tasting. Minced garlic. I just buy, I used to try to mince my own garlic, and sometimes I do, but most of the time I just buy it in a jar because I go through this whole jar in a week or two. Okay, so I had a hard time really on this one, salmon. So again, you want to try to get wild caught. Like this one says wild caught, sustainable. I like it without the skin on it, but it didn't have, Walmart was already sold out of everything on it. So, and the ones that come in the Walmart package, they have had chemicals added to them. So I didn't want to do that. And so for the chicken, the recipe for the stir-fried chicken in week 1 has used chicken breasts, but the chicken breasts that are free range and skinless and all that, they were like $10, and this one you get more chicken for the chicken thigh. And I just thought, what the heck, I'd rather get it clean and save a little bit of money, and it's not going to make any difference really in the taste or the nutrition. Actually, some people think thighs actually have more nutrition. Oh, I picked out the wrong corn. Anyway, here's organic corn, but they also have this in the frozen, and I guess it really wouldn't matter that much. The Badia brand, they usually have pretty clean products. I have their flax seeds and hemp seeds, and like I was telling you, this huge bottle right here will probably last for years and years because you only use like maybe a teaspoon at a time. And chia seeds, would be just as good if you just want to start out with one type of thing. I buy the carrots already shredded because I guess I'm lazy or I just want to save time. The organic baby carrots. So this is a 2-pound pack for less than $3. And I'm going to use that for the hummus and the guacamole. So I don't have to cut up carrots. But there's a lot of carrots on here. Carrots are excellent for your colon health. And I just wanted to mention these because carrots are one of those things that I think God played a trick on us, that they have a very high sugar load, a glycemic index. However, there's so much fiber in them that the glycemic load is actually very low. And like I said, that fiber is really good for your colon, and it's a natural way. And we're eating these with either the hummus or the guacamole for our snacks, and that's like the perfect blend of the fat with it. So really, really good health there. So here's the unsweetened coconut flakes that are organic. You can make the coconut milk with this. You can put it in the overnight oats, and you know, they're a lot less expensive. And this bag, oh my goodness, I've had a bag now for like 6 months that I still have half of it probably. So when I go, this is not all the stuff I'm buying, believe me. I have almost everything at home. I couldn't find any sunflower or pumpkin seeds, pepitas, that were organic and raw. So I just put these on here because sometimes you just have to use what you can get, especially right now when the grocery stores are selling out of products. You just do the best that you can. And that's really all we can do, because just being conscious of your eating and cleaning it up is tremendous, and be relaxed about it. If you get stressed about something, your digestive system doesn't work, especially about your eating. Here's the Great Value chia seeds that are organic. Here's the peanut butter that I was telling you about. This is one brand, and the only thing in here is peanuts. Oranges. So oranges are another one that you do want to soak in the vinegar if you can't get them organic. And we're only buying one orange, so it would be kind of ridiculous, you know, if we're only buying a few of them to buy a whole dozen of them like that, because you really can't keep them. Same thing with the limes. Like when I get these, I'll just put them all in the sink and pour in about a teaspoon of, you know, about a quarter cup of the white vinegar. Lemons, bananas, and here's, I just buy the 4 to 6 count of the avocados. I usually don't buy organic avocados, even though now that price point is coming really close if you buy one or the other. Here are the gluten-free oats that I usually buy. There's several different types. I think Quaker has a gluten-free one also. I just try to avoid gluten. I don't think that I'm allergic to it, but when you want to try to lose weight, you want to make sure that your gut isn't leaking or you know, gut permeability. So gluten is one of the things that can cause that. I don't want to go into a big spiel on that right now, but you know, it's just sometimes it's a good thing to avoid it. Whole natural almonds, the only thing in here are almonds. There's no salt. They're not roasted, and you can use this for the almond milk, for the snacks. Here's the chocolate bar that I chose because it has, I don't know how you say this, demerara sugar. Cacao butter is a really good fat. It's a long chain saturated fat, which is really good. The cacao powder and chocolate and vanilla beans. Okay, that's all I got on my shopping list on that one. So I wanted to show you also the couple of things that if you are concerned about getting your immune system boosted, there's a product called Camu Camu. It's a fruit, and it has the highest vitamin C of anything. The other thing I do during the spring is I drink some milk thistle tea with dandelion root, and it sounds really bitter, but it's actually really good. I can't really even taste that it's bitter at all, but it's just another good one. I'll go back. Goji berry is another one really high in vitamin C and really good to boost immune. You can see all the crazy stuff I bought from Amazon. If you're having really high sugar or carb cravings, it could be a sign that you're low in your vitamin B1 especially. And so if I find that I'm craving sugar or carbs and things like that, I've got a bottle of this in my refrigerator that I use, and just take about a teaspoon of it at a time. And it's got all kinds of good stuff in it, but it's kind of amazing how almost immediately that craving goes away. Okay, so are there any other questions or anything that I didn't say? Yes, Kim. Unmute your.
I want to know all these things that have peels on them. You're not eating the peeling. What are you putting them in the vinegar for? Like your avocados and your oranges and your lemons and your limes. Why are you washing those in vinegar? You're not eating the peeling on them, right?
Well, some of them you are eating the zest on it, and the citrus zesting part is really good for you. So
Well,
if you're
like
gonna,
the avocados, I mean, why would you put those in?
the only reason I would, yeah, the only reason I would do it is because right up where the stem was, where it was connected to the plant, you know, something could seep in there. And plus, I don't want to get that on my hands and everything if I'm cooking and all that.
And the
Whatever.
bananas and all that stuff, you put
Yeah.
them in vinegar water.
Well, actually, I don't do the bananas, but I mean, you could, because, you know, they're pretty much inside of the peeling. But, you know,
Well, so
anything.
is all the other stuff. That's why I'm asking, because I
Yeah.
would never have thought to put an orange or a banana or, you know, now lemons. Yeah, I like to clean my lemons because, you know, if I'm using them for something and I'm squeezing, then I've got my hands all over the
Right.
lemon the whole time I'm trying to eat it and
Right.
squeeze it and do all
Right.
of that. But I was just curious, you know,
Well,
about the avocados and the banana and the and all that other stuff.
that's really just it. And we're going to be squeezing the oranges too and the limes. So it would be the, you know, the same concept as the lemons, that you don't want to take, I don't know. I'd rather just go ahead and clean them just to make sure.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
I understand now. I'm just
Okay.
was curious there for a
I have
minute.
some questions.
Yes, Maria. Oh,
But
God.
hey, I like that, Kim, because I don't wash stuff like that, especially with white vinegar. So all these are great questions. I have a question. Can we substitute the with lime juice instead of a lime?
Yes, I do that. I just make sure I try to find a lime juice that doesn't have a lot of preservatives and chemicals in it.
That brown rice fusilli, what is it called? Brown rice.
Vasily, yeah. The quinoa or the brown rice, or you don't necessarily have to use the pasta, because it depends on, you know, where you're shopping at to be able to find the stuff. And so the seeds of change, let's just bring that up. And Walmart did have, like, these right here are really good.
Okay,
The Thai gluten-free brown rice noodles.
I like that.
And these cook differently too. You boil the water and then you just put the noodles in there and let them sit for about 10 minutes. And, you know, make sure you're done, because most of the time when I cook pasta, I boil them for 10 minutes. But this one, you don't boil it. You turn the heat off when you put them in. It's kind of a different way to cook them.
Cool.
But the other thing, you can also, in that recipe for that salad, you can use any of the seeds of change, like this quinoa and brown and red rice, quinoa and brown rice.
I love quinoa. My son got me hooked on that.
Isn't it delicious?
Yes, it is.
Especially with a little bit of broth with it. Here's one 7 whole grains. All of these are pretty clean, and they taste really good in a salad if you know, can't find the pasta or you don't want to do the pasta. Like this one though, they put in some kind of a monoglycerides or whatever, however you pronounce it, and I don't even know what that is, but it doesn't sound like it's supposed to be in there compared to the other products where it just has the brown rice. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
So
have
it's-
another question too.
Okay.
Use the canned coconut milk. Did you show us that? I don't recall.
I didn't show it because I'm just so used to making my own coconut milk, but there's one brand on here that has like the least amount of stuff in it. And definitely get the whole fat one. Oh, good. They have this one here that has MSG in it. Citric acid is a disguised form of MSG and has all these preservatives in it. So this
Wow.
is not one that you want to get. This one doesn't have, this one has the least amount. Coconut water and this gum stuff is emulsifier, but it's a little bit more natural. So it's basically the cleanest one. It says non-GMO.
This is great information.
Yeah, there's,
And
oh
I
my
love
gosh.
how, because, you know, I'm starting to use the shopping. This will be my first time to do a pickup because I know this is going to be the trend of the future. So I'm going to start using it so I can explain it to people. But it's great because when you pull something up, you've got the ingredients. It's so hard to just sit there and read on a can or something when you're in the grocery store. This is really nice that it has everything laid out for you.
Oh, it's super nice because yeah, you'd be in the store forever and you just basically most of the time just want to get your stuff and get out of there. And I don't even know my way around the store anymore. But here's another example of one that's just, this is the coconut milk, but look at all the stuff they have in here. Sugar and natural vanilla flavor, could also be MSG, calcium phosphate, just like a bunch of stuff, you know, like selenium is supposed to be good for you, but I don't know what form of it they're using in here. I mean, it's just like too much stuff when it has like more than 5 ingredients. I don't even like to buy it if I don't have to. But yeah, I'll show you this almond milk here. Oh my goodness, look at all this stuff. And but look at this. All the only thing in there is coconut. And that's really what you want to look for. Want to show you another cool one too. Like these Laura bars, they intentionally did that where they only have, you know, like 3 or 4 or 5 ingredients. But one of the most important things is to make sure that you're eating every 2.5 to 3 hours during your productive time. So from the time you get up in the morning, you want to eat the first time at about, you know, within 30 minutes or so. And I usually have a smoothie in addition to whatever I'm having for breakfast. That includes the whey protein for me. And I put my prebiotics in there and take the probiotics at the same time. But just eating every 2.5 to 3 hours, it gets your metabolism going. And if you want to lose weight or gain weight, it's what brings your body into homeostasis. And at the end of the day, you want to stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. When you eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, you should bring your blood sugar into balance. Yes, Kim.
I was noticing as I was looking over the menus, it seems like there are a lot of carbs in there. Is that, I mean, I've been brainwashed about carbs for so long now that it's hard for me to digest maple syrup and oats and,
Yeah,
noodles and, all of those things.
I know. It's actually great news that we can eat those. So,
Well, I don't know if I think it's all that great news or not. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm having a hard time adjusting to that, because from thinking about eating maple syrup in the morning is really not, I mean, that doesn't do anything in the world for me. Some people love, they love cereal and they love sugar and they like all that stuff in the morning, but I would be much better off with like a, vegetable smoothie or something like that versus, something with sugary tasting, maple syrup and
yeah,
that's,
and there's just a little bit of that in there, but there, yeah, there's a lot of controversy right now about carbs, of course. And I've been on like the keto and the low carb and the no carbs and all that kind of stuff.
mm-hmm.
We're balancing all the carbs that we're eating with other things, with the proteins and the fats. And that's what neutralizes that, because our body has to have the carbohydrates to produce energy that run our mitochondria, which already know a lot about the mitochondria.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But when we don't have carbs, we're actually running our body on cortisol and adrenaline, which actually produces that fat around our middle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a very unhealthy thing to do, because eventually our adrenal glands will just wear out, and that's what they're calling adrenal fatigue. And
Yeah.
there's a ton of people right now running around with that.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
So, oh, Susan's upside down now.
Making us dizzy, Susan.
So, but I know there is a lot of controversy about that.
Okay, I have a question.
I don't know if I convinced you, but yeah.
Am I still up?
Well,
I
it's
am
okay.
upside
I mean,
down.
it's just,
Okay.
it's knowledge. That's all.
Hello?
I mean.
Yes. Hey, Susan.
You're still upside down. Oh, there you are.
Okay, I have a question about inflammation. I want to decrease inflammation in my diet. So I was thinking about the oats, and like Kim was saying, some of the carbs we've gotten used to doing away with carbs and the white stuff. But can you address something about inflammation?
Yes, because inflammation is the backbone of a lot of different things. And everything on here, this is actually considered a anti-inflammatory protocol, even though the stuff that we've been fed about keto and carbs and all of that is telling us that that's not good for us. It's actually everything in a balance, and there's a lot of saturated fats in this, and there's a lot of monounsaturated fats that actually bring down the inflammation. And I've went through all of these to make sure they were all falling into the anti-inflammatory category, because until we bring down our inflammation, the weight isn't going to release. It's cleaning up the liver, it's cleaning up the inflammation, it's bringing all of that into balance so that our body can naturally let weight go or bring it on. But inflammation, as you know, can affect you underweight or overweight. It's just keeping us out of balance. So there's plenty of fats in here that are addressing the inflammation and the proteins, and just the combination of everything. Like, eat everything in the right order. And even if, like, I have some people that don't like hummus, so you can just eat the guacamole on those days, or vice versa. My mom doesn't like guacamole, so she's going to do the hummus, I think. I don't know if she likes that or not. So, but if you run in during the week and you have questions, or, you just don't like something, I can always switch it up. I mean, it's not a big deal, because I have, like 1,700 different recipes. So if you're allergic to something, just let me know, and we can always substitute, because there are quite a few people that are allergic to nuts. And one thing that you might notice during the week, because you're going to be more aware of what you're eating, especially if you're doing I really encourage you to do the food, mood, poop tracking, is if you find that, a couple hours after you ate something that you have some kind of a symptom that comes up, like a headache or something like that, it could be a sign that you might be sensitive to that food or something that was in your last meal. And sometimes those sensitivities can take 2 or 3 days to come up. And that's why I really encourage you to do the food, mood, poop tracking so that we can track it and start to see if there are any patterns that are coming up with certain things. Because I took out a lot of the foods that people are sensitive to. Like I mentioned already, gluten is something that can come up 2 or 3 days later. Some people have reactions to eggs, nuts, a lot of different things. So, I don't want to, rule anything out. And that's really what the whole thing about the tracking is, just to see if there's one thing that's keeping the inflammation going or keeping, making you feel bad and you don't even realize it was something you ate 3 days ago.
Good information. I have a question. I noticed you don't really focus on caloric intake because there's no calories listed. Are you kind of basing all these recipes in this weekly schedule on like under 2,000 calories or under 15, or is there anything in regards to that?
I didn't intentionally base it on caloric, but I did look at all the nutrients that are in the whole meal as well as the whole day. And they're all coming out between 12 and 1,300 a day.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the optimum amount. And, I didn't really put a lot about quantities in the recipes because if you're hungry, good grief, eat, So I don't want anybody to be suffering or sacrificing or feeling like they're deprived. And so if you have things like that coming up, try the B vitamin complex. Or just let me know. There might be something we can change up a little bit because I don't want people to be suffering and stressed out about it, because when your digestive system is stressed, nothing works right. So try to eat slowly and think about it and, bless your food and let it bring the nutrients that you need.
I started eating on a saucer years ago because of that visual thing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's just a norm for me now.
I do that too. And then if I have it piled up, it feels like I'm eating a lot of food, which, is really the right amount of food.
That was another thing that my mom, because she's going to be doing this with me, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to get my mom on a different mindset of looking and being more aware of foods, because she's been going for the last 10 years just to the grocery store and getting whatever she feels comfort or what she wants, not realizing what she's doing to her body. And so that's one of the main reasons I'm doing this. And I just kind of went blank on what I was going to ask you.
Well, speaking of our parents or people raised in that era, the food companies didn't put all this stuff in our foods, and people had their gardens and they grew their own food. They knew where their stuff came from and they just didn't have to worry about it. And we didn't have all the stuff we have going on now with autoimmunity and diabetes and obesity, cancer, and on and on. I mean, all that. So it's
I
just
remember my question now.
different times. Okay.
And other things that she had, for a change is food prepping, because she's been raised on a hot meal being placed upon the table every evening. So do you have any suggestions on prepping to where we can still, like, should we wait and cook the salmon the day of? Or it's all in one, so we'd have to prep it together?
Well, the salmon, of course, it could the food prepping, let me back up. The food prepping is an option for people that use the excuse, I don't have enough time to be ready and have everything ready. So they don't have that excuse anymore that I don't have time to cook. But it's fine to prepare the salmon. And for the salmon, I would probably just cook it, for one meal, and then the next night have the leftovers.
We're used to
mean-
leftovers. I will say that. So
Yeah. If you don't do leftovers, you could cut it in half or whatever, but I'd probably just cook it the one day and use the leftovers the next day. Be easiest. And that would also give your mom something to do because she's used to feeling useful and doing something every day. Wants to feel like she's contributing. I don't know who's on the iPhone, if it's my mom, but that's one of the ways that my mom and my sister show love to people is they prepare meals.
oh yes, and she's a fanatic about washing dishes. Oh my gosh, she's washing dishes all day long. That's part of her routine. So I'm trying to think, well, she says she doesn't mind, but maybe trying the meal prep tomorrow and doing everything for a whole week to see if that'll allow her to get outside more, to do your yard work and different things, and not have to worry about keeping a kitchen clean. So
Oh yeah, that's
psychological too.
That's a beautiful idea because if you can spend 10, 15, 30 minutes out in nature, it just does so much for your uplifting your spirit. And yeah, it's a lot more fun too. So I guess she
I'm
doesn't
pretty sure that's Brenda. Brenda, is that you?
Unmute yourself.
Hello. Yes, it's Brenda.
Hey Brenda.
Okay.
Hey. I'm still in my PJs.
Good for you.
I'm not
Oh.
showing myself, but I have enjoyed it. It has helped me a lot. I went out and bought a few things, or had my husband go out and buy me a few things from your list yesterday. So I wrote things down for him because I'm not going out because of my immune system and everything. And I'm kind of staying close to home. So he went to the grocery store for me.
Okay,
Good.
that's fantastic. Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I've been wanting all this information. My stepdaughter is gluten-free, totally, food. And I kind of envy her because she stays so nice and trim. But she has 2 kids too, so she runs around a lot. But I like the way she eats. Now, my husband eats totally different. It's going to be difficult for me because he will not eat any of this.
Oh no.
Right. So, he will not touch anything that says organic, or I don't know why. It's just the way he was brought up, I guess. But we have arguments about the food all the time. So,
Oh my goodness.
So
Mhm.
bad, Brenda.
Mhm. Well,
My mother does the grocery shopping and comes in, and the last time, the first bag I picked up was graham crackers, that
oh yes.
free vanilla pudding, all these things. I said, Mom, the next time I see this, I'm going to throw it in the trash. And she looked at me so funny. But the next time she went, I said, well, here are a couple of things. She says, you're not going to throw it in the trash, are you? I said, no, but it did make her more aware. But I went grocery shopping one time. She said, you do it. You do it. I went. And I literally brought home organic chicken. And my mother walked up to me with the pack of chicken and said, what do you want me to do with this? How am I supposed to cook this? And I'm like, what? Cook chicken for 80 plus years? I don't know what to do with it.
I know it's usually fried too, a fried pork chops, or
Oh, yeah.
So I've been
Yeah.
trying to bake my protein because
Yeah.
he eats a lot of protein. He eats a lot of beef. He wants beef every day, almost.
Well,
Dude, beef
we didn't really talk that much about clean sources of meat, but you know, in our country, the pigs and the cows are fed processed corn.
Oh, I know.
And unless we get grass fed and wild free range and all that kind of stuff with our chickens and pigs and cows, we're eating everything that that animal ingested. And
I try to tell
toxin,
him that, Tammy. I try to tell him that.
I know. Well, maybe if someone else tells him, but he's probably from thinking about back in the day when you didn't have to worry about that. Everything was
Exactly.
cleaner, but now they put pigs in a processing farm and they eat each other's dung and it's disgusting.
I know it is.
And yeah, I mean, I forgot, I lost my train of thought on that, but yeah.
There's so much to this. There really
Yeah.
is. I have another question. Microwaving versus air frying. What are your
Oh,
thoughts on all of that? Because I'm so used to going and heating up food in the microwave, and if I'm prepping things, I'm going to be microwaving it.
Well, there's a lot of schools on thought on that. Like microwaving, people are saying that it changes the molecular structure of the food. So I do use my microwave occasionally, but I never go over 40% power and I never go for more than 2 minutes. And especially if I try to microwave in a glass container, and that's why I also keep the temperature way down, because people are saying that the toxins from plastic will actually get in your food, and that's why they're saying so much about microwaving. But then I've heard other spiritual teachers say that it's whatever you believe is going to happen is what happens. So, but I love air frying. It's just like being in an oven. And I think I'm going to make the salmon recipe actually in my air fryer because it's just so much easier in my oven. And the place that I'm living right now, if I turn my oven up too high, the smoke alarms start going off.
my sister does that too. Her alarm goes off and the fire people come to the house.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't shown up yet, but I'm just like, okay, this is just way too annoying. And my oven is clean. It's like I barely even used it the first time. It's just the proximity of it. They took walls out in the kitchen and remodeled everything, and now it's just a big thing. But
do you have a suggestion for an air fryer? A brand?
There's several different ones now that I think there's one that's a new one that's a combo of an Instapot and an air fryer all in one. Isn't that cool? Because then you don't have
I want an Instapot.
Yeah, because if you get that all in one, you have one less appliance in your kitchen, because I'm loaded up with different appliances.
Yeah. I have a pressure cooker, but I've not used it very much.
Yeah, and I
My
think
mother used to use hers all the time and it scared me, the whistling.
well, and that's what I like about the Instapot. And you can use it for pressure cooking, slow cooking.
Right.
And now you can do air frying in it, I guess. So,
Can you air fry in it too?
well, there's a new one out now that's a combination of air fryer.
Huh.
And I was like, well, that's cool. I could get rid of my crock pot, all my other stuff I got.
I'll tell you what, I've come a long way, baby, because I used to have a deep fryer on my counter full of oil all the time. Being from South Louisiana, we fried everything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And
That's the way it is in Mobile too. I mean, I grew up in Mobile and we
yeah.
had fried shrimp, fried fish, fried crawfish, everything. Everything was fried.
Everything was fried, dipped in white flour, corn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, Maria, you look awesome for having to go through that.
Yeah, she does.
I'm
Yeah.
an activator. Remember, I've been activating for 8 years
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. You
And I
really.
Kim.
I love what Tammy's doing, because when she and I sat down and looked at her program that she has, the biggest thing listed was oxidative stress and inflammation.
Right. Oh boy, and I have a lot of that.
It's all paralleling together. It's going to be even more beneficial, because I've been activating for over about 8 years now. It'll be in May.
Wow.
And so, but it's my eating, my nutrition, and all of that. So I want to take it and elevate it to the next level, So we can extend our life to 150 years old
Good for you. Your skin's so pretty too.
in our bodies, but we're still consuming toxins around us. So I really appreciate what you're doing, Tammy. 'Cause
Well,
this makes
thank you. Thank you.
more
And
exciting.
we're coming into a time right now where people are going to be wanting to boost their immune system. And Brenda, you just mentioned that you feel
Yeah.
weak in that area, that this is really gonna, I think, have a good effect. And I know it's difficult when you've got people in your household that aren't supporting it. So hopefully you'll be able to figure that out. But
I hope so too. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to, get on some sort of program because I've tried this and tried that, and I don't know. Nothing ever seems to work for me. I think I eat too many carbs is one thing, because we eat a lot of bread around here. So it's one thing I need to watch.
Well, yeah, bread is something that can turn directly into sugar, and sugar is one of those anti-nutrients that just undoes everything else. So
So weakness.
Brought that up because that's big here with my mom. Breads, biscuits,
Yes.
all of that. So that's going to be hard to, but as you go along with this, Tammy, you start losing the cravings for all that, correct?
right, and if you add some vitamin B1 or just a B complex,
I would like to
feel
see it.
free to, just put all your questions in the Facebook group, because if you're asking it or wondering, other people might be too. It's going to come up, so I need to address that. But I really appreciate you guys, and let's have some fun. Let's rock this out.
It was fun. Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah.